Hey now, all you minties, this is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, and join me today for an overview of the Transformers IDW Collection Phase 2 Volume 12 and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles IDW Collection Volume 12. So, let's get started. And welcome back, everybody. Before getting started, a huge thank you to the folks at IDW for sending us copies of these hardcovers. This is a video that a lot of you have been wanting me to do for a while now, to showcase both of these recent hardcovers, so here we are. And I just got them in last week. I went ahead and read them. I love both of this series. As probably you all know by now, I'm a big pusher for when it comes to these series. And I will stay away from spoilers, so I gotta be really careful when I'm turning these pages in case some of you aren't this far yet. But I know a lot of you are curious about the build and what the contents are, what some of the art looks like inside. We'll be starting with Transformers first. So, Transformers Volume 12. Yeah, let's talk about this. So here we have Volume 12. Here's the spine. Transformers IDW Collection Phase 2, Volume 12, and the back. So every one of these has a character on the cover. This time around, they decided to use Soundwave. I love those cover designs. I've loved the cover design since Phase 1. Now, what's important about this particular volume, this particular hardcover, is that this is the final Phase 12. We're moving on to Phase 3 after this, and that comes out sometime in September. Here's all the content. Transformers, which was once called Robots in the Skies, but they changed the name over to Transformers because of the cartoon. Till R1, which is a new ongoing series. Titans Return to One Shot. Transformers again, going back to the John Barber run. And then More Than Meets the Eye, which is my all-time favorite, and that is by James Roberts. The important thing here, though, is that Till R1 is done by an all-lady creative team. You have Marjorie Scott as the writer, Sarah Durocher as the artist, and then the colors are Priscilla Tramontano and Joanna Lafuente. And the letters and the edits are done by a group of dudes, but I thought that was really cool that it's an all-lady team that focuses on that. So, without giving spoilers away, I'm just going to briefly talk a little bit about this. So, we have Transformers. It doesn't have a subtitle or anything. This is more about the characters that are hanging out on Earth. So, you have the character of Optimus Prime, you have the character of Thundercracker, you have a bunch of the Seekers that are down here on Earth. Why he's down here? Well, you can find out for yourself by reading the previous volumes. Why Optimus is no longer on Cybertron or up in the Lost Light. I think I talked a little bit about that when I'm doing the overview of all of the hardcovers, especially Phase 2. But this is what the artwork looks like. This all leads into, or this kicks off the event called Titans Return. And that is collected in here, as you saw in the table of contents. And it's a one-shot. And the Titans are, of course, these big creatures that are like Metroplex or Fortress Maximus. And why are they returning? We had the Combiner Wars in the previous volume, which introduces us to the Gestalts, or reintroduces a lot of the Gestalts, like Predaking, Menasor, the Devastator, which we've seen Devastator before in the comic books, but it's a big all-out war when it comes to the Combiner Wars. What I'm sad to see in this particular volume, though, is the lack of, and this is Till R1, by the way. This is the one that, it's kind of, and I'll go back to my point here in a second, but this is the continuation of the Windblade series. So you have Windblade, Ironhide playing a big role in this, and then you have all the fembots from the Caminus, from that area, and they all play a bigger role here. So you have like Chromia, Alita 1, and then you also have Starscream. So this particular series here, Till R1, deal with the characters still on Cybertron. And then, of course, Starscream is trying to rule over everybody. And how he got that role? Well, that's a long story. Now, The Lost Light, of course, being my all-time favorite series of Transformers, has to do with the members of the Lost Light, which is a spaceship that Rodimus Prime took off with a bunch of his friends to go and find the legendary Cybertronians. It's this prophecy and legend about these characters that exist outside of what their comfort zone is. So along the way, of course, there's all these horrible things that happen. We are introduced, or reintroduce if you've collected the toys or if you watched the original cartoon or even the continuation of the cartoon in Japan, where they went past Season 3 and then went into the Headmasters and Master Force and then Victory. Some of those characters make appearances through these pages. But this is James Roberts' run. I absolutely love this run of Transformers. I've praised on and on about The Lost Light. It's some of the best comics, not just Transformer comics, that I've read. Let's look at some of these variants. Censoring that final page because I don't want to spoil that for anybody, but here are some of the variant covers. This is the Nick Roche cover. And he's the one that started drawing the Lost Light issues. Or, I'm sorry, what they're known as, I keep calling it the Lost Light. This is the More Than Meets the Eye series. It turns into the Lost Light in Phase 3. And here's some other variant covers here. My daughter and I were just talking about this last night, like what our favorite characters are in the Transformers universe. There's Galvatron. Galvatron looks a lot like Megatron here with some like horns and stuff in this particular story arc. But I was telling her, like, oh, I'm a big fan of Rodimus Prime. Not in the cartoon, but in the comic book. I'm a huge fan of Cyclonus in the comic book. I love Tailgate. There's so many characters that I enjoy. They all come with a ribbon. Now, I've heard some of the second, third printings still have a ribbon. And then past the second and third printing, like I guess the fourth and fifths, sometimes don't have ribbons. But then when the sixth printing came out, they did have a ribbon. So it's hit and miss when you get these in reprints. And speaking of reprints, you're in luck because both of these series, my contact at IDW told me they will always be evergreen. And evergreen, when I use that term, means that they will always be in print. So if you're looking for a particular volume of either Transformers IDW collection Phase 1 or 2, or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles IDW collections, then just wait it out. It will come back into print. I've been emailed and messaged so many times about, Omar, this volume is out of print. Omar, this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles volume is out of print. Do you know when it's going to come back? It will come back. Just be a little patient. I promise they will be back. So 320 pages for this Transformers hardcover. It does come with a ribbon, and it is sewn binding. The paper quality is this thick, glossy paper they've been using since Phase 1. Let's go ahead and start talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles IDW Collection Volume 12. So, here we have the spine right there. And then the back of the book. Both of these retail for $59.99, by the way. Now, much like the Transformers, they always use a character from the comic book on the cover. So this time we went with Hob. And Hob's a character that, I don't know, I haven't seen every incarnation of Ninja Turtles, but from my personal belief, I don't think he's been a character in the Ninja Turtles cartoons. At least he's not from the original one or the 2003 series. Or when was that? 2015 series? The CG one. Which was really good. I hated that it got canceled. So here we have the table of contents where you'll find each of the issues. So this collects Ninja Turtles 85 through 89, so the ongoing series. Then we have the second series, which is the Universe series. And this collects issues 23 to 25 of that. The Macro series, Michelangelo, and the Macro series, Leonardo. Then we also have the follow-up to Bebop and Rocksteady. There was a mini-series a couple of years ago that was in, I think it was in volume 10 of this. But this is the follow-up series to that, and that is Bebop and Rocksteady Hit the Road. So all of that is included in here. So we do have some new faces and why they're hanging out with the Ninja Turtles. Well, there's been a big war between the Foot and the Turtles. And that got wrapped up a couple of volumes back. And this is kind of the aftermath and how the Turtles are dealing with it. There's a little bit of disbelief as to what Master Splinter's choices have been. Oh, this is such a cute story. This is Mondo Gecko. And he's trying to save his friend Seymour, the mutagen man. He's dying, so he's telling Hob, we need to go and break into this secret lab because we can't let mutagen man die. And so Hob says, no, we can't. We're like the #1 most wanted criminals. So Mondo Gecko instead teams up with Mikey in order to save his friend. I thought that was a really cute story. And I love seeing the different incarnations of these characters come to play. Now, we also have this long arc here that, oh man, this is a good arc. The Triceratons return, and then we have a team up against Krang and all his little minions. And there is a wonderful, heartbreaking scene. We say goodbye to one of my favorite characters of the comic books towards the end of this saga. And yeah, I think I had some manly eye sweat towards the end of that. So thanks a lot, Kevin Eastman and Tom Waltz. You guys did it. Damn it. All right. But the biggest thing for me, and I'm sure a lot of people really enjoy, it's weird because like the way that they have this mapped out, I understand it's done in chronological order, not publishing order, which is cool. But after that heartbreaking scene, we get this ridiculous story arc, and it's a lot of fun, right? But it's like you go from one emotional roller coaster to something kind of funny and quirky, and that's the Bebop and Rocksteady miniseries. And you can probably take a look at there's Wingnut. Take a look at the artwork to see exactly what you're in for, because the artwork really, really has the tone of the humor that you find in here. But what's interesting is, like I said, you wrap up this one story arc back here where, you're like, damn, that was sad, to what the hell kind of crazy ride are these two idiots going on? But my favorite thing about this particular volume is the return of my favorite creator. Sophie Campbell returns to do the Leonardo Macro series. Love Sophie's artwork. It's changed a little bit. It's a little rougher and sketchier right now, and I'm okay with that. I wish Sophie would come back and do one of the series, either the Universe or come back and do Ninja Turtles. By far one of my favorite artists on this series, and one of the best artists. I know Sophie's work on, Glory, on Image's Glory is what made me become a fan of Sophie's work. But yeah, this is the Leonardo Macro series. And then we wrap up with a Christmas episode with issue 89 of the ongoing series. There's a couple little spoilers as to who appears, but I don't want to spoil that. Let's get to the back here. We have 392 pages in this particular volume of Ninja Turtles 12, and it comes with a purple ribbon, same color as the spine of the book, the inner spine here. It's awesome. And the paper quality is this thick, glossy paper. Same thing they've been using since Volume 1, similar to what the Transformers Phase 1 and 2 use. We have a couple of variants. Some of them might have a little bit of a spoiler, so I didn't want to show those. But here we are. And the variants, by the way, are always on the opposite page of the regular covers. The regular variants, if that makes sense. Because there's always two covers, and then they add additional covers later on. Not to every issue, but let me show you. So you have a variant here from the Universe, and then you have the standard cover to issue 85. Issue 85 had a variant cover by Kevin Eastman, because they always have a variant cover. And Kevin Eastman, most of the time, is the one that supplies the variant cover. Man, that Freddie Williams, though, I'd love for him to do a... he's the one that did the Batman Ninja Turtles miniseries. But that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in either of these books, don't forget to check out our sponsor, CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online source for collected editions up to 50% off retail price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on excellent packaging, so your stuff gets to you in excellent condition, and they have amazing customer service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And for all you Minties that are watching, if you're a first-time customer, don't forget to mention that Near Mint Condition sent you their way for a promotional credit on free shipping on your next order. Now, this is only for U.S. customers. CheapGraphicNovels.com, your source for the hottest books with deep discounts, customer service, and excellent shipping that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and the build of each of these hardcovers. Let me know in the comments down below which ones you're picking up, if you're a fan of the Phase 1 or Phase 2 hardcovers, if you're a fan of the IDW collection of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Again, both of the series happen to be in Evergreen, which means they will always be in print, so just give it some time in case you're missing a volume here and there. Let me know if you skipped Phase 1 of Transformers and you went straight to Phase 2. That's what I'd suggest to a lot of people. A lot of people like to go back and read everything. And I'm the same way, so I don't blame you. Again, this was the Uncanny Omar. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Don't forget to check out our spread shop and our Patreon. Amazing ways to support the channel. All of those links are in the description below. More importantly, everybody, stay healthy, stay safe, and much love.